everyone. Allow me to introduce Mr. Fernandez, a seasoned marketing professional with a remarkable 32 years career in the villas, hotel, cruises, and travel industry. As an award-winning marketer and leading digital marketing expert, Mr. Fernandez has demonstrated exemplary leadership by driving high-performing marketing programs and developing new brands. Currently, serving as the Chief Marketing Officer at Rental Escapes, Mr. Fernandez focuses on paid search, digital marketing, and analytics, overseeing day-to-day marketing operation. His impressive career includes significant roles such as Vice President and General Manager of World Travel Holding and Vice President of Cruise and E-commerce at Travel Leaders Group. Recognized as one of the top 100 rising stars in the travel industry, Mr. Fernandez's key strengths span diverse marketing aspects, agency and partner relationship management, team leadership, public speaking, and strong financial knowledge, further enhancing his position as a distinguished figure in the industry. We're truly grateful to have you here with us, Mr. Fernandez, given your busy schedule. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Happy to be back home after being out in Las Vegas for the last week, attending two really large travel conferences and also getting ready for the big F1 race in Las Vegas.
I'm glad to hear that. And I would like to begin by asking you, what experience and pivotal moment have influenced your journey the most?
What experiences? I have been in travel for 32 years. And I often say that I'm blessed to do what I get to do because I get to send people on vacation. And I am afforded the opportunity of creating the moments that people are going to cherish for a lifetime. And I even look at myself in the way that I travel, and I look at myself and where I look to take my children. And, I look at the fact that I have former clients of mine who still call me, even though I don't physically sell travel anymore like I used to, but they still call me. Or it's the reviews that I read, from guests who traveled to our villas or have traveled on cruises with me in the past. The fact that I get to touch people's lives by sending them on vacation and giving them recommendations on what to see, what to do, is probably the most rewarding aspect of my job being in travel. Travel is sexy, but travel is also emotional.
Yes.
Because we're spending time with loved ones.
Yes, I completely agree with you, and thank you for sharing that. Now, let me go ahead and ask you, considering your extensive digital marketing expertise, could you elaborate on how you successfully leverage digital platform in the travel and hospitality industry, and what role data and analytics plays in your decision-making process?
So, I've been doing travel for 32 years now, and I've watched digital evolve so much. Whether it's paid search, SEO, social media, YouTube, TikTok, texting, I've seen it and done it all. I'm now getting into the whole CTV of introducing hyper-targeted and even dynamic ads on streaming TV services. So our ads are going to speak specifically to a guest in New York and speak specifically to a guest in California. And though the ad may be the same, the message will change dynamically because of where they're located. The one thing that kind of scares me a little bit right now is AI. And I don't know just yet how AI, what sort of role it's going to play in what we do, because what we do is very personal, and AI is not. But I have a feeling we're going to become dependent on it in some way, shape, or form, and it's just understanding the dependency of it. In terms of analytics, I'm a big data geek. Data drives a lot. I want to say data drives 90% of the decisions I make. My gut drives the other 10% because I've been doing it for so long. But data always tells a story. It tells the truth. So whether I'm looking at data when it comes to testing and making optimizations on the website in order to improve the overall user experience, or I'm looking at data to understand what marketing channels are driving the best return for the investment or driving a really good qualified lead, or I'm looking at data to understand how many touch points it takes and what touch points along a conversion path lead to a conversion, right? Sometimes as marketers, we go, this particular channel isn't driving conversions for me, right? Because we get stuck looking at last click. I tend to look at data and understand, well, the conversions or those conversions that successfully became inquiries or bookings was video in the cycle, right? Maybe somewhere in the middle. And then you compare that to those conversions where video wasn't in the cycle, right? So then rather than shutting off certain marketing channels, you keep them on because you understand the assistance that that particular marketing channel played in getting you that particular conversion. So I'm always looking at data.
Yes. And I'm glad that we get to have that now, because I know a few years back we didn't have that chance and it was a little harder for a marketer to make decisions.
Absolutely. Yes. Oftentimes you were going on gut.
On gut, correct. And now going back to something that you mentioned earlier, how do you differentiate between new technology adoption and trends? So what criteria or method do you employ to assess whether a technology such as social media platform or a new app is a lasting addition to the industry or just a passing trend?
So you always have your core, right? Paid search, SEO, email, right? That is always the core. And I don't see any of that really ever going away. From there, then you start to take a look at what can you complement to your core, right? So for instance, social media for us is not a driver of conversion, and I will never use it because the data tells me that, at least in our business, it is not a driver of conversion. However, we use it for brand awareness. We use it for storytelling, right? It affords us an opportunity to get in front of our audience and show the beautiful pictures and just stay top of mind. We look at remarketing efforts, and there's a lot of, I get solicited 24 hours a day from companies who have the next best marketing platform. And you have to filter through some of that, and some of it you test, and some of it you just delete the emails. AI right now is the big thing, and I'm not rushing to it. I want to watch what others are doing with it, how they're using it, the experience that they're creating, or the disaster that they're creating with it. Once it's proven, then I may jump into it. So I may be a little bit late to the game. But years ago, mobile didn't exist, right? We were all on flip phones, right? Or we were using our small little Nokias and we were texting away. Now you can have voice commands, voice search. Websites have to be mobile optimized. SEO has to be mobile optimized. So everything that we do, where we were focused heavily on the desktop, we now have to focus on the mobile. But now when you focus on the mobile, one of the big things that you have to solve for is the cross-channel, right? We spend a lot of time during lunch on our phone, but then at home we go and we transact on the desktop. Well, how do you measure those two interactions? How do you know it's the exact same user? Because when you look at analytics, and I'm sure you're looking at analytics, the one thing that stares at you constantly is not set.
Right, you need to see the whole 360 view.
You have to, right? And you have to understand that cross-device attribution, right? So Amazon does an incredible job with that. Facebook does an incredible job with that, right? Where if I look at it on my phone and I go to my desktop, somehow it remembers that I was looking at toothpaste. You know, when I go back onto my desktop, oh yes, I have to order the toothpaste, right? So
it is true.
You know, there are some things that are trends, right? Like, you know, back in the day, Vine and Snapchat and some of these other things, they're trendy, they're cool, they're there for a short period of time, and you have to be there, but you're only going to be there for a short period of time. What I would tell you to do is 90% of your marketing always has to be your core, and then the other 10% of your marketing can be what I call that experimental marketing. And if you start to see that the trend now becomes more of a long-term play, then you can stay in it. But I wouldn't put so many eggs in my basket in trendy things.
And something that you already mentioned, which caught my attention, it's also analyzing if that worked for your industry or, as a matter of fact, to your business itself. So it's a process to understand if it really does work for you or if it's not.
You know, if you own a makeup store, an online makeup store, right, you may want to join an affiliate platform like a Commission Junction or a link share. For me in the villa space, I wouldn't go into the affiliate model because it doesn't work for me. Or you may want to hire an influencer to do some of your makeup videos and go on TikTok. My audience is not on TikTok. Their kids are on TikTok, but my audience is not on TikTok. So, you know, you have to be able to adapt your marketing to your segment.
And I completely agree with you. Now, I would like to ask you, how do you envision Rental Escape remaining competitive in this ever-evolving environment? Given the rapid advancement of digital technology, as we know, what insight do you have regarding the future of customer experience in the travel industry?
You know, I just spent the last 6 days talking about this in my conferences. So you can't see it, but on my wall and on my email signature, I have my favorite quote of all times. And it's a quote by Maya Angelou, and it says, "I've learned in life that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And I can utilize all of the tools in marketing to drive that customer into me. But once they're with me, once they've picked up the phone and they've called or they've emailed me, how am I going to take care of that customer? Right? And that's really what sets us apart as a company. What we do is we provide very personalized villa experiences. So in a lot of the marketing that we do, that marketing is hyper-targeted, very personal. We speak to you. You know, I oftentimes give the example, and I gave it just last week when I was having the talk. I go to Panera in the mornings to get a muffin. I love their orange cranberry muffin. And they ask me for my phone number, and I give them my phone number. And every time I earn a reward, it has absolutely nothing to do with my buying behavior at Panera. I always get offered a cup of coffee. I've never bought coffee at Panera, ever. I get offered an egg sandwich. I've never bought an egg sandwich at Panera, right? So that reward that you're giving me for my loyalty to you is so impersonal because you're not giving me anything of a benefit to me, right? And that's a huge miss in the marketing world, in that we're losing that human element, right? And we're not having personal conversations, personal relationships with our client. So we can be great marketers, but once you bring them in the door, how do you treat them? Do you treat them just like everybody else, or do you treat them individually? And we as a company are really focused on treating every person individually, because your needs and wants and desires out of your vacation are very different, right? So what we're focused on is just the overall experience that you have with us, in that it is custom tailored to you.
And I see why you have that, that feeling with AI, based on the answer that you just gave me, and I completely agree with you.
I don't want a robot talking to my guest, right? That robot is not going to be able to engage in a very personal conversation with a guest. My villa specialists are, or my concierge team is, or I am, but that robot is not.
Right. And everybody else is doing that.
I go, I'm an older generation, right? But I get frustrated working with some companies when they offer a chat feature and I go on there and I need assistance and it's a robot. In some instances, it has caused me to stop having a relationship with that company, and I've switched to somebody else because I want that human element.
Right.
I want to be able to engage with someone who's going to be able to take care of me and answer my needs, rather than, this artificial, artificial computer with canned answers.
Yeah. It's funny that you said that, because I'm sure a lot of people experience the same thing when they're calling some type of customer service, and they have this automation that ask you to just press one at the bottom, but none of them are related to your issue. You just want to talk to a real person and express your issue that goes beyond those simple tasks, and sometimes it's very frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
So now I do want to ask you a question, and this question I'm eager to listen to your answer, because obviously based on your extensive experience, has there been any specific marketing principle or strategy that have consistently delivered positive results regardless of the technological advancement or market fluctuation?
That's a really good question. This is a really good question. Mariana, what I would say is, in my marketing, I tend to not overthink it. I tend to, I don't want to use the word, but I'm going to use it anyways. I tend to dumb it down. Oftentimes in marketing, we try to use these really big words that someone who is scanning an email, because we don't read email, we scan it, looks at it and has no idea what you're trying to tell them. Because we're trying to seem so big and powerful and creative, and we throw hashtags at them and we do all these things, and the customer just stares at it and goes, huh? That I relate. Right? That in my marketing approach, I try to dumb it down so that the guest understands within 15 seconds what I'm trying to tell them, right? Many years ago, every Sunday, I used to sit, I don't live in Miami anymore, but I used to. I used to sit right in front of the Apple store at Dadeland Mall. And if you want to learn about customer behavior, just sit in front of an Apple store. Look at how many people walk into the store, interact with the gadgets, and leave and don't buy anything. Plenty. And you think to yourself, like, you went to the mall, you went to the Apple store, you played with an iPhone and you left. Like, you probably have one in your pocket. And I remember sitting and saying to myself, I have an idea. I went and I created an email that looked like a tablet, and I created little app icons. It didn't have any prices, it didn't have anything. It was basically just a tablet with app icons. And I wanted to be able to understand customer behavior in an email and where they would click based on a visual image of something. So I sent the email out. I used to watch a show called Extreme Couponing, where people would keep these binders of coupons, and they would go to a grocery store and get $1,000 in groceries and pay 54 cents after they cashed in all their coupons. So I came up with an idea. What if I did an extreme couponing sale where I would put offers inside coupons? You didn't have to clip the coupons, you didn't have to send me a coupon, but the mindset of the customer is a coupon means savings.
That's a great idea.
Right. So anytime that I can interact with individuals and watch their behavior, oftentimes I can translate that behavior into an email or into a text message or into some sort of a social media graphic in order to get them to behave in a way that I want them to behave based on an emotional connection that they have to a device or a physical object.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that. That was great to hear.
Absolutely.
Now, last question, I promise. Looking ahead, where do you see your role evolving in the future?
My role in the future. You know, for me, I always enjoy pushing the envelope. And I've always believed that it is what has contributed to much of my success in the travel industry. I don't like being a follower. I like being more of an innovator. And I will push the envelope and I will try new things, and I'm constantly testing. But what I will never change is how I speak to a guest. That will never change. But I will look for ways to improve the way that they can interact with us. I will look for ways to improve their experience. I will look for ways to better the loyalty that they have with us. And when I say loyalty, I don't mean offering them points or a gift basket or a bottle of champagne. Oftentimes people confuse loyalty with reward. If you are giving someone something for their business, that is a reward, that is not loyalty. Loyalty is a feeling, and it's a feeling that someone is willing to pay a premium for, right? I will ask you a question. Do you have a hairdresser?
I do, of course.
How long have you been going to that hairdresser?
Not often.
No, but how many years have you been going to that hairdresser?
I'm saying not often. I have two small children, so I basically have no time for anything. Maybe once or twice a year, I guess.
For how many? Okay, but for how many years have you been?
For how many years? A long time. I will say probably 7-8 years.
Okay, and tell me why you go to that person.
Oh, because when somebody's good and provides very good customer service and customer experience, I just get married. It's like whenever I go do my hair, whoever does my hair, nobody else touches this.
So I ask that question every time I'm interviewing people or just having conversation with people. Oftentimes nobody tells me it's because of the way they cut my hair.
No, it's not. No. It's because they understand me.
That's loyalty.
Right.
That's the feeling. That's the feeling, right? And that's where we as marketers fall short. We believe that we have to give someone a discount. We believe we have to give someone points, right? We believe we have to give them a gift. We're buying their business. That's what we are doing. But the hairdresser has never given you a card that they stamp or that they punch, that the 10th one is free, right? That hairdresser doesn't give you a gift. That hairdresser doesn't make you part of a rewards club. And yet for the last 7-8 years, you keep going. Not because they give you a great haircut, because that's not what you told them. What they told you is the experience that you have with them. It's the feeling. As marketers, we have to harness the feeling, because to acquire a customer in today's day and age is very expensive. People have choice. People have a lot of choice. And if we as marketers don't provide guests with the experience to retain them, we will never build loyalty with guests in an effort to lower our cost per acquisitions and build a strong lifetime value with that customer.
Wow, that blew my mind. Thank you so much for that. It made me think both as a marketer and as an individual. So I love to discuss this part with you.
They have choices, but what it's going to come down to is how we make that guest feel working with us, right? So when you go to travel with your two small children and your loved ones and so forth, we're going to understand what you are looking for. We're going to understand what your kids are looking for. What is the purpose of the vacation? And we're going to create those moments that where you are so busy that you can only go to your hairdresser, once a year. We want you to be able to enjoy that pool, for that time period that you have with your kids, where you don't have to think about anything else, right? That they're going to be on the beach and they're going to have beach toys, or that we're going to arrange a very special dinner in celebration of a birthday, right? And then when you come back to us, everything that we know about you, you're never going to have to tell us again, because we've already learned what you like, what you don't like, what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy. So that next vacation is going to get personal, right? I often give the example of, a Holiday Inn versus a Ritz-Carlton, right? They're both hotels.
Right.
They both offer a bed and a shower. But why is someone willing to pay $700 a night at the Ritz versus $100 a night at the Holiday Inn? What's the difference? It's the experience you have at the Ritz. It's how that Ritz employee makes you feel. You're willing to pay for it.
That's correct. That's true.
Right? It's everything that they know about you. My wife and I, when we travel for our wedding anniversary every year, we stay at a Ritz-Carlton. And it doesn't matter where I am in the world, the Ritz-Carlton knows when I check in everything about me and every other stay that I've had at the Ritz. So they know the kind of pillow that my wife likes. They know the kind of bottled water I like. They usually know what time I like to eat dinner. So they're already making dinner reservations for me at a restaurant at a very specific time, because I like to eat at a very specific time. Again, the experience becomes very personal. And for that, I pay a premium.
That makes completely sense. Yes, I think you have answered all my questions, Mr. Fernandez. I do thank you for your time, and I was very impressed with this interview, and I thank you for your time.
It is my sincere pleasure. I thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really enjoyed myself today.